Masukla amahle ehlelweni lwethu lapho khona sithi ithini iphalamende lamhlelisene nayo namhla ehlelweni ncedile mama uhlelo lapho sitavuka ngoba sitaqhubeka sibuke wona-ke maphakelo i-budget speech leyathulwa yiyo yona utiko letemafa umhlonishwane Rockenberg leyathenzeka empilweni ukuthi kukhona utiko lakhona yawaniketele lawo maphakelo ugogo sibakhulisile yona imali yabo-ke labantu labo njalo
Furthermore, the Lomahasha Namata water supply project aims to provide clean water to 46,500 people by the end of 2025, benefiting communities in Lomahasha, which is in Eswatini, and Namata, which is in Mozambique, and along the pipeline route, which is in Eswatini. Another major project is the Manzini Region Water and Sanitation Project, which is financed by the ADB. The cost of this project is estimated to be 1 billion emalangeni, and the objective of the project is to meet potable water requirements of Manzini and the surrounding areas, covering Mtongwaneni, Manzini South, Mhlambeni, Manzini North, and Mafutseni. The project is expected to benefit 110,000 people, and the expected date of completion is the end of 2025. This financial year, the Ministry of Natural Resources is partnering with World Vision to try to close the gap that still exists in the rural areas. We are grateful to that the World Vision has pledged a budget of 125 million emalangeni for the next 5 years to cover 15 tinkundla. The mining sector remains a subsector that has the potential to also significantly contribute to the economy. The multidisciplinary geoscience mapping project, the airborne electromagnetic, radiomagnetic and magnetic survey for the Shiselweni and Lubombo regions has been successfully completed, except for a few areas that seem to have some mineral potential, and these will be explored through ground truthing. These areas are Shani Lomahasha and Lushikshini Tualile. A geological and mining information system and an electronic document management system has been successfully developed for the ease and improved geoscientific data and information dissemination to mining investors. Mr. Speaker, in the financial year 2024-2025, Eswatini made significant strides in its energy sector, achieving a number of key milestones. Notably, 2 hydroelectric power plants are advancing, the 10 megawatt Maguga and the 13.6 megawatt Lower Makuduza plants. These projects, combined with existing 60 megawatts of hydro plants, will bring Eswatini's total hydroelectric capacity to 83.6 megawatts by 2027. The construction of the Maguga expansion project is set to run concurrently with the Lower Makuduza development, contributing to the country's growing renewable energy capacity. In addition to hydropower, the EEC conducted a preliminary study on the potential for geothermal power generation, followed by geoscientific studies at 3 sites, Lobamba Mbuchini, Mkoba, and Lobombo Plateau. Eswatini is also advancing in its efforts to increase local generation capacity through small-scale embedded generation projects, allowing small power producers to feed electricity back into the grid. This initiative, alongside the hydro and geothermal developments, underscores the country's commitment to achieving a net zero emissions and boosting its local generation capacity. Mr. Speaker, the Rural Electrification Program has continued to improve electricity access for communities, with 4,227 households electrified and 887 ready boards installed for households without electricity in the 2024-2025 financial year. On the transmission front, the construction of the Dwaleni Stonehenge 132 kVA line is nearing completion, and it's expected to be operational in the first quarter of 2025. This line will strengthen the power supply of the capital city and northern Eswatini. The regional electricity landscape remains challenging due to the climate change conditions that have reduced power generation in neighboring countries, like Zambia. This, coupled with high demand and a heat wave, has driven up electricity tariffs across the region. While climate change remains a challenge, the volatility of the electricity market means that tariffs will continue to be uncertain. Despite these challenges, Eswatini's commitment to self-sufficiency in electricity generation remains central to its energy strategy, which will continue to drive the country towards a greater energy independence and sustainability in line with the program of action. Eswatini has also signed up with the Accelerating Sustainable and Clean Energy Access Transformation Program, referred to as ASCENT, which is driven by the World Bank, African Development Bank, and the Rockefeller Foundation, which seeks to fast-track access by connecting 300 million people to electricity across the continent. Through this program, we envisage to have 100% electricity coverage in Eswatini by 2030. We have budgeted 80 million emalangeni for this. The Ministry of Natural Resources has been allocated a total budget of 1.57 billion emalangeni to implement its programs. Mr. Speaker, the tourism sector has continued to display strong performance, indicated by a growing interest in traveling to Eswatini from regional and international markets. Intercontinental visits rose significantly by 11.8% to 853,000 visits in 2024, reflecting an increase of 90,000 compared to 2023. This highlights the destination's appeal and the success of targeted advertising initiatives aimed at drawing visitors from all around the world. In the 2024-2025 financial year, the government has planned to complete the ICC. Unfortunately, we have failed to do so, but due to a variation in the scope of works. This year, we're providing 600 million to finalize the project and an additional 30 million emalangeni to operationalize the ICC. The government continues to provide regulatory oversight to ensure that all major infrastructural and economic development projects are subjected to environmental and social impact assessment, and comprehensive mitigation plans are developed to minimize adverse environmental and socio-economic harm. Mr. Speaker, government continues to provide an effective set of policies and regulatory frameworks to provide for enhanced environmental and human health protection. A comprehensive radiation safety bill has been developed and awaiting Parliament approval, and will be implemented to facilitate protection of the environment and humans from the negative effects of radiation. The government issued environmental grants worth 2 million emalangeni to communities in all 4 regions of the country through the Eswatini Environmental Fund. Furthermore, the government collaborated with communities to construct a total of 108 cleanup campaigns to conduct the campaigns. The footprint of the Eswatini Environment Fund has spread to fund environmental projects in communities across all 4 regions of the country, which has included seed funding for novel projects such as the Eswatini Reptile Education Center at Spotkosini. The climate continues to change at an alarming rate, with extremes becoming more frequent and more severe. In recent years, damage to infrastructure and negative impacts on agricultural production have been observed. The need to minimize the impact cannot be overstated. We need to be more vigilant in our road and bridge construction, how and where we build our buildings, how we secure our assets to the ground, and even what crops we plant to be able to better prepare for climate change. Mr. Speaker, the government continues to fulfill its mandate in providing an enabling environment and socio-economic development by spearheading digital transformation, improving access to services, facilitating infrastructure developments, expanding connectivity, and keeping the nation informed, educated, and entertained. In the next 24 months, the government will endeavour to deliver the Government in Your Hand platform, integrating all government services into a one-stop online web portal. Self-service booths will be placed at Tinkundla centres, post offices, and public libraries. To deliver this platform, government has partnered with Google, a global tech leader, who will also capacitate the country's local developers from the Royal Science and Technology Park, Eswatini Innovators Association, and the Independent Young Innovators creating a thriving innovation ecosystem. In the past year, government developed 7 applications that will be onboarded to the Government in Your Hand platform for various ministries, aiding improved service delivery in business registrations, deeds registration, and agriculture services, to name a few. Mr. Speaker, the government has made significant investments in infrastructure development, which lays a solid foundation for seamless government services. In the current financial year, 48 Tinkundla centers, 5 border gates, 5 rural clinics, 5 rural schools, and other government service centers have been connected to free Wi-Fi. Government plans to connect all remaining Tinkundla centers and extend the service to post offices and public libraries. A massive countrywide fiber optic rollout has begun. As we build the nation to be an information society and knowledge economy, bridging the digital divide, the government has offered several digital training programs and opportunities for different sectors of government and the nation at large. The country signed an MOU with the United Arab Emirates in September 2024, which has already yielded a number of capacity building initiatives. These include the Digital School Training Initiative of 50 teachers. More training has been scheduled for the coming years, including a coding school for the entire country, seeking to empower 300,000 Emaswati to learn coding in the next 2 years. This year will see us setting up various tech academies at RSTP with global leading brands such as Google, Amazon, and Eswatini UAE Academy. The government has launched the new Government Identity Manual in October 2024. This corporate manual is playing a major role in rebranding.
Sorry, Minister. Siyabonga Minister, nxena ungavuthola lithuba lekunatha emanti. Mhlonishwa Ndvunankhulu, besicela mhlonishwa ukuthi we-invoke Standing Order 263 to suspend Standing Order 30 ukuze ukuthi umsebenzi utokhona kuchubeka.
Ngiyabonga Mr. Speaker, siyacela ukuthi si-invoke Standing Order number 263, si-suspend 30, singathathi ikhefu sichubeke ukuze ukuthi umsebenzi uphele. Siyabonga.
Sibonga kakhulu mhlonishwa Ndvunankhulu, sibonga abahlonishwa. Sekumuviwe ukuthi indlu invoke Standing Order 263 to suspend Standing Order 30 ukuze ukuthi induna yetemafa itochubeka icedzele ibudget. Labavumelana lokho abathi aye, labangavumi bathi nay. The ayes have it and the ayes have it. Minister for Finance, please go ahead.
That was a close one of the eyes and the nose there.
Sorry, Minister. Angikhumbutele once again etingcingweni, tingcingo ePhalamende no. Siyakhumbutana nje, bakhumbule nalaba gallery, sikhumbule nathi bahlonishwa. Tingcingo on silence, please. Induna ehloniphekile, go ahead.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. The government has launched the new Government Identity Manual in October 2024. The corporate manual is playing a major role in rebranding, standardizing, and improving professionalism of the government. The government is branding its vehicles to ensure responsible use by government officials and reviving the email system to ensure government communication, improve trust, and flexibility, amongst other benefits. There's a small correction, Your Honourable Speaker. In the actual printed document, we found a small mistake, unfortunately, last night. And that is that this budget provides actually 354.34 million emalangeni to the Ministry of ICT for the rollout of all these targeted programs. So we just made a mistake of about 20 million. Mr. Speaker, even though the government has completed some major road construction projects in the past 2 years, more remains to be done to ensure the country's road network is not an impediment to the country's development in all 4 regions. One major road that is officially opened in 2024 is the Nhlangano-Skunuza Road, the MR13, after facing disruptions during the initial implementation period. all year-round accessibility to the entire country especially rural areas, remains key. The government will continue to work towards the upgrading of several roads through various initiatives. The phased approach of upgrading some roads has brought significant changes to the Spotkosini-Mochane Road, which is the D78, and the Stegi-Tikuba Road, which is the D12. The Roads Authority Act of 2023 has set the tone for the establishment of the Roads Authority, a mechanism that is meant to improve the effectiveness of the country's road infrastructure maintenance. The government is on course to fully establish the entity. As of the 1st of March 2025, the Act has approved 40 cents to be added to the fuel price for it to be able to operate the Road Agency Fund, so that maintenance of national roads, regional and local road infrastructure can be better executed. Mr. Speaker, the government's building stock also remains another area that requires attention from a property point of view. The current state of this infrastructure is not appealing to all, neither the users nor property custodians. An all-inclusive approach has been adopted to address the issue of public buildings maintenance to preserve the integrity and value. Government has made a provision of 371.67 million for road maintenance and major rehabilitation. We have provided 636.12 million for the construction of roads. We provided 200 million for the surfacing of rural roads. We have provided 30 million emalangeni for micro projects to continue concreting roads in the rural areas. A total amount of 1.21 billion emalangeni has been provided in this budget for the road program. Mr. Speaker, the launch of the country's only commercial airliner is another milestone of the last 2 years, and it has the potential to grow into a regional carrier. The new routes to Durban, Cape Town and Harare continue to enhance regional connectivity, driving trade and tourism. In the reporting period, which is April 2024 to December 2024, passenger traffic increased by 34%, with 73,926 passengers compared to 56,281 in the same reporting period in the previous financial year, while cargo volumes grew by 25%. The recognition by the African Airlines Association is a reflection that the airline has made its mark in the aviation landscape in the sub-region. In 2024, Eswatini signed 4 bilateral trade service agreements to establish working relationships with other countries. This provides the national airline with the opportunity to start cooperating with airlines from these countries and possibly start new routes. Mr. Speaker, the Regional Development Fund, what referred to as RDF, has completed 53 projects, which consists of 10 income-generating projects and 43 infrastructure projects, benefiting 8,730 Maswati directly and creating 445 jobs. The reconstruction program of Bukanyeni, Osia, Timbisini, Ngutseni, and Somtomo Tinkundla commenced during the 2024-2025 financial year and is anticipated to be completed in the 2025-2026 financial year. In the 2025-26 financial year, the government will continue to allocate 177 million to the Rural Development Fund, RDF, with an additional 60 million emalangeni towards clearing of the outstanding requests from the constituencies. 282.66 million has been allocated to Micro Projects Community Development Fund, what referred to as CDF. Government has allocated an amount of 532.7 million to the Ministry of Tinkundla Administration and Development in order to continue with rural development services and its decentralization mandate. Mr. Speaker, the government acknowledges the critical role that a national landscape characterized by law and order, as well as high levels of safety and security, plays in fostering both social and economic development. A secure environment is fundamental for building a prosperous nation, and the Royal Eswatini Police Service, REPS, remains committed to upholding this essential foundation. Mr. Speaker, it's worth noting that during the financial year 2024-2025, the police were able to achieve a 7% decrease in the volume of crime and a 14.5% reduction in premeditated crime. The police also made significant breakthroughs in addressing cyber-related crimes like the Fatata scam, along with other prioritized crimes like fraud, commercial crimes, housebreaking, and theft, amongst others. The Royal Eswatini Police Service aims to reduce crime by 3% annually through community-orientated policing. This will be achieved by strengthening the trust between our law enforcement and the community, while also fostering partnerships that address the root causes of crime and promote proactive solutions. Cooperation with the police to recognize, report, and fight crime and corruption will ensure that the effectiveness of their efforts is much higher and that the cost to government is lower. The Mbutfo Eswatini Defence Force will continue with its peacekeeping mandate and manning our security along all borders. Mr. Speaker, His Majesty's Correctional Services made several achievements during the 2024-2025 financial year, especially in relation to improved infrastructure, intensified security measures, self-sufficiency in some food production, enhanced rehabilitation, and reintegration programs for inmates. The Correctional Services embarked on several outreach programs which played a pivotal role in spreading the message of crime prevention and the negative impacts of gangsterism, drug abuse, and gender-based violence, helping to educate the public and promote positive change in our communities. The department has recorded a reduction in escapees and assaults due to effective security measures put in place, which include the training of 148 officers in supervisory courses, polygraph, and dog handling empowerment. Mr. Speaker, Government has established a tripartite task team comprising of the Anti-Corruption Commission, the Royal Eswatini Police Service, and the Director of Public Prosecutions Office to investigate high-profile cases, and results are starting to show. Additionally, the government approved the secondment of 10 police officers to the ACC to address the ACC backlog of corruption cases, and plans are underway to ensure their smooth integration into the ACC's operations. These measures aim to enhance the effectiveness and efficiency of tackling corruption and high-profile cases. Mr. Speaker, it's my duty to present an overview of the financial landscape of our nation as we embark on another financial year. The national budget serves not only as a fiscal blueprint, but also as a commitment to uphold the principles of transparency, accountability, and stewardship of public resources. In this context, I'd like to highlight that the findings of the Auditor General's Office continues to provide critical insights into the financial health and efficiency of government entities. In the year 2024-2025 financial year, the audits have revealed significant progress in various ministries, departments, and agencies, reflecting a collective effort to enhance fiscal responsibility and governance. Improvements in financial reporting practices and the timely submission of financial statements have set a positive trajectory for the management of public funds. However, we must also recognize persistent challenges, including delays in implementing audit recommendations and areas where financial controls remain weak. One of the critical initiatives to strengthen financial controls and minimize weaknesses in the public financial management system has been a successful launch of UMSEBE, IFMIS, aimed at fortifying public financial management, enhancing accountability, and streamlining processes. Mr. Speaker, the audit plays a major role in strengthening parliamentary oversight, robust internal controls, strong operational systems in the public sector, and also improving public sector and investor confidence. The government continues to strengthen the Office of the Auditor General with capacity building and the employment of over 20 auditors in the current year. The Office of the Auditor General is the country's public spending watchdog, which supports Parliament in holding the government to account and helps improve public service through high-quality audits. Mr. Speaker, the country has made great strides with complying to the anti-money laundering and countering terrorism financing and Proliferation Financing Financial Action Task Force recommendations. In July 2024, Cabinet approved the AML CFT National Risk Assessment, Policy, Strategic Plan, and Implementation Plan, which sets out the framework to curb financial crime. In order to further strengthen the AML CFT regime, the country has made great strides towards complying with the Anti-Money Laundering and promulgated the AML CFT Miscellaneous Amendments Act in 2024 that Parliament worked on and passed timelessly. Mr. Speaker, the payment switch project is ongoing and will be implemented in 3 phases. Firstly, fast payments. Secondly, open banking. And thirdly, card point of sale, what referred to POS, and ATM switching. The fast payments phase was launched on the 11th of December 2024 with 3 banks. The rest of the industry is expected to go live on fast payments during the first quarter of 2025. One will then notice that if you are making payments between banks in Eswatini, that transactions will reflect instantly on both sides of the transaction. Phase 2 of the national payment switch, open banking, which will commence in the first quarter of 2025. Upon the conclusion of this phase, the project will proceed to the implementation of the final phase. Open banking aims to expand access to certain accounts, wallets, and payment services to fintech, rather than just limiting it to current providers of accounts and digital wallets. Point of sale and ATM switching is the final phase of the project. This phase aims to localize the processing of domestic card transactions and enable the use of any ATM to certain financial services. Enable the use of any ATM to certain financial services. Phase 2 and 3 of the payment switch are expected to be implemented within the next 18 months. Mr. Speaker, financial inclusion data is essential for monitoring the progress of financial inclusion initiatives and measures its impact on the economy. To make this crucial information available, the Centre for Financial Inclusion will, in the current year, conduct a first-of-its-kind financial inclusion baseline survey. It's projected the findings of this important national survey will be launched in the third quarter of the 2025-2026 financial year.
Esikhathanya lo maswahla amahle sitakujima setimakethe nasibuya liyachubeka-ke luhlelo.
Cause we are good for your future, for your life. For your future, for your life. For your future, for your life. You save for rainy day. We provide for the future. Mama always told me everybody needs an umbrella for a rainy day. A little something you could put away. A bit of patience goes a really long way. And with these seeds I carry hopes of better days. Whose fruits are these anyway? Wait a minute, okay, I get it. Live for today, but prepare for the future. Make sure you cover your welfare is crucial. This for the mothers and lovers and little ones. Taking care of those is business as usual. For your future, for your life. For your future, for your life.
Channel Maswati is regulated by the Eswatini Communications Commission through the Broadcasting Code and Broadcasting Guidelines. Under these instruments, the station commits to broadcasting information and news that have been fact-checked, as well as programs and content in respectful language with no elements of hate speech and with no elements of violence or sexual activity. If you hear any unsuitable content on the station, you have a right to voice your complaints with the station management. Should you not be satisfied with the response or action taken, you can escalate your complaint to the Communications Commission at PO Box 7811 Mbabane or call 2406 7000 or send an email to info@esccom.org.sc. Visit www.esccom.org.sc for more information.
maswati lamahle mukile kakhulu sanza-ke kuvula lona hlelo lwethu ithini iphalamende sachubeka nato-ke tindzaba sibuka-ke tona tindzaba temaphakelo.
Mr. Speaker, through the Office of the Legal Aid Services, government has assisted walk-in clients with various legal issues, including civil, criminal, labor, and administrative matters, by ensuring that they receive the necessary support pending representation in court in an effort to conform to human rights. The next plan is to decentralize the legal aid service to the Lubombo and Shisseweni regions. In order to fast-track court cases using the electronic case management system, the civil and criminal components have been deployed, rendering the project to be 80% complete. Currently, primary focus is on obtaining the essential tools and equipment to initiate the pilot phase, which is crucial and will enable us to assess the system's performance prior to full rollout. Mr. Speaker, in the 2024-25 financial year, government revenue and grants are projected to amount to 27.79 billion emalangeni, corresponding to 31.1% of GDP. The projected revenue collection displayed an increase against the initial budget of 27.58. The increase in total revenue is largely caused by the administration efficiency of Eswatini Revenue Services, which is expected to improve tax collections. SACU increased from 11.75 billion in 2023-24 to 13.07 billion in 2024-2025, approximately 47.9% of the total revenue collected. Mr. Speaker, the government's total expenditure for the financial year 2024-25 was budgeted at 29.42 billion emalangeni. The revised budget at the end of the year stands at 29.41 billion, which is 32.9% of GDP. This is approximately 8.8% higher than the outturn of 2023-24. Mr. Speaker, the deficit of for the financial year 2024-2025 is expected to improve to 1.8% of GDP from a budget of 2.1% of GDP. Whilst we've been able to fund part of this through local borrowing, a large part of it will be financed through external borrowing for budget support. Mr. Speaker, public debt management remains one of the key objectives of the Ministry of Finance, with the responsibility of mobilizing funding for budget support at the lowest possible cost over the medium to long term, consistent with a prudent degree of risk, whilst ensuring that government debt stock remains sustainable. As at the 31st of December 2024, total debt stock stood at 36.16 billion emalangeni, which is equivalent to 40.5% of GDP. Of this stock, external debt stood at 16.82 billion emalangeni, which is equivalent to 18.8% of GDP, while domestic stock stood at 19.35 billion, which is equivalent to 21.7% of GDP. The Ministry, through its Public Debt Management Department, also reviewed the current medium-term debt strategy to evaluate the cost and risk trade-offs associated with alternative funding strategies over the medium term. The strategy outlines how the government intends to borrow and manage its debt to achieve a portfolio that reflects its cost and risk preferences while meeting government's financing needs. The medium-term debt strategy is tabled today for more information. Mr. Speaker, while our cash flow remains constrained, the government confirms that it's doing all it can to pay suppliers on time. The government is currently working on 2 budget support loans that will help clear arrears. One from the World Bank for $50 million, and its decision to write off PAYE tax arrears that have been owed by some of the state-owned entities, and the remittance of taxes through the Office of the Auditor General, of the Accountant General. I'm pleased to report that the Ministry has seen an improvement in the PAYE tax compliance by state-owned entities. This has also resulted in an increase in the annual tax revenue collection by ERS. Under the state-owned entities reforms project, it was found that the PU Act is outdated and needs to be strengthened. So the Public Enterprises Unit, in collaboration with the SEPAC, is currently working on the review of the Public Enterprises Control and Monitoring Act of 1989. All stakeholders are therefore urged to support this process. Mr. Speaker, despite isolated challenges faced by state-owned entities, I'm happy to report that in general, they have continued to perform well and continued to positively impact the growth of our country. Mr. Speaker, government has initiated the development and implementation of the Integrated Financial Management and Information System, referred to as IFMIS, which began on the 2nd of May 2024. This project will run up until the 31st of March 2028. Government has procured the consultancy services of the Republic of Rwanda's government in the implementation of the Umsebe IFMIS. The first 2 financial years, beginning 2024-25, will be for the development of the core IFMIS modules, which will include planning and budgeting, accounting, bank reconciliation, procurement, payments, payroll and asset management modules. The last 2 years will be for the interfacing of the financial management system to ensure end-to-end system processing. Mr. Speaker, the system has been identified as the solution to a number of challenges in the government, which are perpetually causing audit queries identified by the Auditor General's Office. The system will enhance government efficiency efficiency and service delivery as it enables online signatures and a clear audit trail of all government business processes. This will be a paperless system and will minimize human intervention, which can promote corruption and human errors. Mr. Speaker, the government is in the process to overhaul the public procurement legislation, which will introduce the use of information communication technology in the public procurement environment. Upon finalizing the legislation, government will work on the automated procurement system, which will cover advertising, submission of tenders, adjudication, intention to award, awards of tenders, and contract management. The new system is intended to eliminate human intervention in the tendering system. Mr. Speaker, as you can recall, that the government developed a public-private partnership, what we call PPP policy, and is now working with the Africa Legal Support Facility to develop the PPP legislation. This initiative will go a long way towards promoting the participation of the private sector in infrastructure projects. The private sector has been reluctant to invest in an environment where there's no supporting legislation to protect their investments. The government is anticipating projects in road infrastructure, road maintenance, construction of public buildings, the health sector, and utility services that could benefit from PPP arrangements. Mr. Speaker, I commend all Emaswati and businesses for their invaluable contribution to our nation's fiscus by honoring their tax and customs obligations. For the year 2024-2025, ERS expects to collect 14.6 billion emalangeni, reflecting a 12.4% increase from the previous year. This improvement in revenue is attributed to the enhanced voluntary compliance due to ERS's ongoing commitment to quality services and strengthening stakeholder relationships. The forecast for 2025-2026 financial year is 16.5 billion, reflecting a 12.8% increase. This increase will be driven by ERS's continued digitization and trade facilitation efforts, including the deployment of custom scanners, fiscalization technology, and other digital tax systems, while leveraging third-party data and data matching to strengthen tax compliance. The ERS's digital transformation program has further enhanced by the upgrade of the automated system for customs data, what referred to as ASECUDA, in December 2024, which shall simplify and speed up clearance processes at ports of entry. We made significant strides in domestic revenue mobilization through the introduction of income tax order amendments in July 2024. These reforms aim to enhance revenue collection while fostering an investor-friendly environment. Notable changes include the reduction of company tax from 27.5% to 25%, the introduction of presumptive tax regime for small enterprises, simplifying compliance and the increase of VAT registration turnover thresholds from 500,000 emalangeni to 900,000 emalangeni, effective from April 2024. This adjustment reflects economic realities and supports business growth in all segments. Mr. Speaker, a major milestone for ERS's digitization journey was the successful implementation of the Oracle Revenue Management and Billing System, referred to as ORMB, in March 2024. This state-of-the-art system replaces the revenue management system, providing modern, flexible, and agile solutions. The ORMB enhances taxpayer services through its self-service platform, Tax Ease, which allows clients to access seamless, efficient tax services at their fingertips, and making a significant leap forward in ERS's technological capabilities. The country has achieved sustainable progress in trade facilitation through bilateral, regional, and international agreements. Initiatives such as electronic certificates of origin, the Automated Economic Operators Program, and the Coordinated Border Management have enhanced the ease of cross-border trade. A landmark achievement was the launch of a joint time release study with South Africa to measure and improve border clearance times. Through the National Committee on Trade Facilitation, Eswatini and South Africa have finalized a joint action plan, paving the way for a one-stop border to serve both nations. The ERS will also leverage third-party data and data matching to strengthen compliance enforcement. Over the medium to long term, we are committed to embedding tax education into the formal education system and enhancing compliance support for small and medium enterprises. Mr. Speaker, to grow our tax base, we'll be tabling a proposed increase in alcohol and tobacco taxes. We'll also be reviewing the fees and fines in the finance bill, mainly to keep up with the cost of providing these services. Mr. Speaker, I'll now present the budget estimates for the financial year 2025-2026. Mr. Speaker, the government revenue, excluding grants, in the 2025-26 financial year is projected to reach 29.14 billion, which is 30% of GDP, an increase of 7.6% on the 2024-2025 financial year. SACO receipts decreased from 13.07 to 10.4 billion emalangeni. However, this budget is utilizing 11.4 billion emalangeni, of which 1 billion is withdrawn from the SACO Stabilization Fund. Non-SACO revenue is expected to increase by approximately 2 billion emalangeni and amount to 17.72 billion, of which 16.72 billion is from taxes and 1 billion is from non-tax. Total grants for the 2025-2026 financial year have increased to 585.27 million emalangeni, compared to 492.2 million emalangeni in 2024-2025 financial year. This increase is primarily due to the International Development Association, IDA, which I referred to earlier, World Bank grant of 80 million emalangeni allocated to clean energy access transformation. Also 51 million from the Japan International Cooperation Agency allocated to the construction of 4 secondary schools across the 4 regions, and 237 million from the Republic of China and Taiwan to support various sectors. Total income taxes are projected to increase from 7.97 billion emalangeni in 2024-2025 financial year to 9.05 billion in the 2025-2026 financial year. This is mainly due to an increase in corporate tax income, which grew by 23.6%. Similarly, personal income taxes are expected to grow by 10.3% to 5.8 billion emalangeni. Mr. Speaker, taxes on goods and services, excluding SACO receipts, are expected to increase by 14.1% from 6.65 billion in 2024-2025 to 7.58 billion in the 2025-2026 financial year. Value-added tax increased by 15% from 5.09 billion in 2024 to 5.85 billion in 2025-2026. Fuel tax increased from 1.36 billion in 2024-2025 financial year to 1.43 billion in 2025-2026, reflecting an increase of only 4.5%. Mr. Speaker, total expenditure for the financial year 2025-2026 is expected to be 32.61 billion. This excludes public debt redemption of 4.4 billion emalangeni. The appropriated recurrent expenditure is set to be 22.25 billion, an increase of 9.9% compared to the 2024-2025 financial year. Total budget allocation to capital programs amounts to 7.25 billion, an increase of 14.4% from the previous year's allocation. Mr. Speaker, in the 2025-2026 financial year, public it's a critical one there. There we go. We're back, Honourable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in the 2025-26 financial year, public servants' wage bill is budgeted to reach 10.48 billion emalangeni compared to the 9.8 billion in the 2024-2025 financial year. In this budget, £500 million emalangeni has been set aside in anticipation of the outcomes of the salary review exercise and any other wage increase related expenditure. Mr. Speaker, the budget that I'm presenting today is a fully financed budget. The budget deficit for the financial year 2025-2026, in fact, there's another small mistake in the written speech there. We're saying 2024, it's actually for 25-26, is projected at 3% of GDP, which is equal to 2.88 billion emalangeni. Mr. Speaker, we are well poised for entering a new era of economic growth. We have a solid Tinkundla system, a wise and dedicated head of state, a hard-working Prime Minister, a committed cabinet, a parliament that's focused and dedicated on improving the lives of Emaswati, a firm base of GDP growth of 5% and a projected growth for 2025 of 8.3%. Let us take full advantage of this favorable position that we find ourselves in and take our economy to new heights. Let us stand together to achieve these goals for the benefits of our children and future generations. Mr. Speaker, by virtue of the responsibility entrusted me as a Minister of Finance, I now present this August House the budget estimates for the financial year 2025-2026. Revenue and grants, 29.72 billion emalangeni. Appropriated recurrent expenditure, 22.25 billion emalangeni. Appropriated capital expenditure, 7.25 billion emalangeni. Total expenditure, 32.61 billion emalangeni. Fiscal deficit, 2.88 billion emalangeni. In conclusion, I'd like to thank local and international development partners who have supported us through thick and thin. This includes partners who have displayed unwavering support to the nation, both financially and technically. Mr. Speaker, in particular, I'd like to acknowledge the support we received from PEPFAR, the European Union, the Republic of China and Taiwan, the UN family, the World Bank, and the International Monetary Fund, the Africa Development Bank, the International Bank for Agriculture Development, Export-Import Bank of India, Export-Import Bank of Taiwan, Japan International Cooperation Agency, USAID, the OPEC Fund for International Development, Badia, Kuwaiti Fund, the Saudi Fund for Development, Global Fund, Clinton Health Access Initiative, Green Climate Fund, Georgetown University, the World Health Organization, Africa Legal Support Facility, Medicine Sans Frontiers, World Health Program, and the civil society. Lastly, I'd like to quote a scripture from Deuteronomy 1 verse 8. See, I have set a land before you. Go into it and possess the land which the Lord has sworn to your fathers. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Asibonge kakhulu induna lehloniphekile eTemafa siphinde sikhumbuteke sinixolele nje for today lokuthi atishawa tandla ePhalamende kude nje kushaya tandla lele bese nikwenda nje kahle kahle nonke nina lenishaya tandla you were out of order ngoba akushawa tandla la siyabonga Minister Finance umsebenzi lomuhle lesowendile wekwethula ibudget kulendlu lehloniphekile congratulations Minister siyabonga kakhulu sengikokuthi imalunga lahloniphekile adalithola lithuba lekucoca nawe ngayo kabandi ku sitting lelandzelako. Bahlonishwa sengibongile ku minister icela ukuthi ngiyethemba bahlonishwa niyakhumbula umhlonishwa naka raise indzaba yanama bills langene nge certificate of urgency sekune addendum ngele khona yokuthi sitokhona kuwa refera ekomidini kuze likhone kuwasebenta masinyane. Ngiyacela ke mhlonishwa Ndunankulu u-invoke standing order 263 to suspend standing order 121 kuze kuthi lo msebenzi wonke lona utokhona kusebenteka bese sowuya ke emakomidini. Mhlonishwa Ndunankulu.
Siyabonga Mr. Speaker, ngicela ukuthi ngi-invoke standing order 263 kuze ukuthi suspend lo 121 sokuthi umsebenzi uqhubeke siyabonga.
Sibonga kakhulu mhlonishwa Ndunankulu bahlonishwa. It has been moved ukuthi invoke standing order 263 to suspend standing order 121 kuze sizoqhubeka nemsebenzi wethu lo sembi kwethu. Labavumelana lokho abathi ayi, labangavumi bathi nay. The ayes have it and the ayes have it. Sibonga kakhulu bahlonishwa. Mr. Clerk. Order. Mr. Clerk.
Honorable members, there is an addendum number 3 to the order paper and the orders of the day, the government bills, the supplementary appropriation bill 2025, bill number 2 of 2025, first reading, presented with a certificate of urgency by the Honorable Minister for Finance.
Sibonga kakhulu Mr. Clerk. Indvuna lehloniphekile yaka Finance, when is the first reading?
Thank you.
Sorry. When is the second reading?
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. With your permission of the House, may it also please be forthwith.
Bahlonishwa sekumuviwe okokuthi ku second reading yale bill ibe forthwith. Labavumelana naloko abathi aye, labangavumi bathi nay. The ayes have it and the ayes have it. Bahlonishwa ngimemeteleke ukuthi lena bill seyiku second reading ikomiti lefanele komiti lehloniphekile lefanele ayisale ichubeka iyawuyisebenta le bill njengoba sesimemetele. Mr. Clerk, nasin bahlonishwa.
Honorable members, the supplementary appropriation bill 2025, bill number 2 of 2025, second reading by the Honorable Minister for Finance.
Nduna ehloniphekile siyabonga Clerk. Nduna ehloniphekile yetemafa.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. May it please be forthwith.
Bahlonishwa sayimuvile indvuna ukuthi kube forthwith. Labavumelana naloko abathi aye, labangavumi bathi nay. The ayes have it and the ayes have it. Ibhili bahlonishwa seyisekomitini laka Finance okokuthi liyisebente September litayibuyisa masinyane. Mr. Clerk.
Honorable members, the second one is the Finance Amendment Bill 2025, bill number 3 of 2025, first reading, presented with a certificate of urgency by the Honorable Minister for Finance.
Sibonga kakhulu Clerk. Nduna ehloniphekile temafa, when is the second reading?
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. With your permission of the House, may it also please be forthwith.
Bahlonishwa induna seyimuvile ukuthi kube forthwith. Labavumelana naloko abathi aye, labangavumi bathi nay. The ayes have it and the ayes have it. Mr. Clerk.
The Finance Amendment Bill 2025, bill number 3 of 2025, second reading by the Honorable Minister for Finance.
Sibonga kakhulu Mr. Clerk. Induna ehloniphekile yetemafa, when is the second reading? When is the kodwa lizofunza i-second reading. Thank you. Sibonga kakhulu clerk ibhili bahlonishwa sesiyirefera ekomitini kusho ukuthi ikomiti la finance selitayisebenta bahlonishwa nayo iphindze ibuye itokhona kubuye endlini ke seyiphasa luwonke. Thank you very much, Mr. Clerk.
The Alcohol and Tobacco Levy Amendment Bill 2025, Bill number 4 of 2025, first reading, presented with a certificate of urgency by the Honourable Minister for Finance.
Sibonga, Mr. Clerk. Minister for Finance, when is the second reading?
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. With your permission, leave the House. May it also please be forthwith, Honourable Speaker.
Bahlonishwa induna seyimuvile ukuthi nalena kube forthwith labavumelana naloko abathi aye labangavumi bathi nay. The ayes have it and the ayes have it. Ibhili bahlonishwa sekomitini. Mr. Clerk.
Honourable members, the Alcohol and Tobacco Levy Amendment Bill 2025, Bill number 4 of 2025, second reading by the Honourable Minister for Finance.
Sesijake kuhamba siye emakhaya. Cha siyabonga abahlonishwa le bill lena seyireferwe ke ekomitini la finance ngokuthi nayo liyisebende masinyane njengoba onke lama bills afike ngesitifiketi se-urgency bahlonishwa. Sibonga kakhulu bahlonishwa umsebenzi wethu loku order paper cishe sesiwufikise ngasekugcineni kusebentekile sibili njengoba bese sibongile nasenduneni yetemafa nakini bahlonishwa kubonga nje kuba nelithuba lekulalela ibudget yelive nabo bonke lesinabo endlini nabo lithuba lekukhona ukuthi babone ukuthi kwentekani ePhalamende.
Sishaya silibeka lapho luhlelo lwethu maswati lamahle nichubeke nibe nekubulala okuhle inhlelo etalonzela asiphenze sihlangane ngalokudabo ngisale kahle.